What's up everyone, Evgeny Genchev here, and this is Sweet Struggle. Today joining me is someone who doesn't need an introduction. He has toured and filled up arenas across the globe. He's an inspiration and a role model to a generation of musicians. He is a family man, he is a sport enthusiast, and he is a member of the duo Two Cellos. We recently performed with him in Italy at the No Borders Music Festival. And yes, you guessed it, I'll be chatting with Luka Šulić. Hello Luka, thank you for joining me. How are you doing and where are you at the moment?
Hello Evgeny, nice to see you. I'm home in Maribor, Slovenia. My home, actually my practicing room where I practice, record stuff while my kids are asleep. So nice to talk to you. Where are you?
I'm in Budapest, and first of all, I would like to say thank you for making the time and thank you for doing this. And it was awesome joining you now a few days ago on stage, finally reuniting after so many years. I think last time it was something like about 10 years ago in Academy, which was like a lifetime ago. But it was awesome to open the season kind of after lockdown in Italy, especially in Italy. So thanks for having me on stage with you. It was an awesome experience.
I must say that it's much more natural to play with you and make music than to speak to you. But I will do my best today to answer all your questions.
Well, and unfortunately,
and it's a big pleasure. It was also my big pleasure to play with you after so many years. It feels so like last time we played together was in my previous life at the Academy. Yeah. And so many things have happened since then. And but I'm happy that we are also opening a new chapter in our project together. So I hope this Corona
Corona brought us together. That's yeah.
But that's true.
Awesome.
You see, sometimes the best things happen during the worst times. You know.
Yeah,
so.
I mean there is a blessing in everything, and there is always a positive side for sure. And
exactly.
I mean, unfortunately, it was really busy, and we had rehearsal and then busy with the concert, obviously. So we couldn't do this in one place. So thank God again for the digital possibility. But yeah, last time we actually performed, that was. I remember you came into the Academy for masters after doing. After being in Vienna, right?
Yes, I graduated in. Yeah, you go on.
Yeah. So you graduated in Zagreb, I think first, right? Yeah. Then you studied in Vienna and came for masters in the Academy, and you were immediately like the cellist, which obviously fair enough. And you were playing all this stuff that. Violin pieces that even violinists are struggling with, and I remember that
I like to struggle. Sweet struggle.
Sweet struggle, exactly. Nice one. But so immediately, like actually, then we got to play the Brahms first sonata for cello, and that's when we were playing, and I remember. We were about to have a coaching with Michael Dusek, I think Michael Dusek, right? And I think you had come out with the video like 2-3 days beforehand with Stepan, and then Elton John called you just before our coaching for the first time. And I remember he actually you said that you're going to the States, but then you won't have a phone or something, and then he sent you a phone next day. It was this like surreal experience starting like, and this was like the beginning of a whole new life for you, which is amazing. But I want to go back a little bit and ask you about, because I didn't know at all about smooth criminal planning. Like, how did you actually come up with the idea, and what made you do this?
Well, me and Stepan, we were friends for a long time. Since we were teenagers, we met at the master classes as kids. We are both from the same country, same regions, so we would meet each other in different master classes, and we met, I think, when we were about 14 years old, and straight away we could feel this chemistry. We were both crazy about cello, about music, two maniacs just practicing. We didn't know anything else in life, just cello and music. And when you meet someone like this in that period, you know, a soulmate, you feel less lonely on your journey. You know, you feel inspired by someone else, which can be very encouraging and motivational.
Of course.
And then we didn't see each other for a long time. We were both studying in different places, different cities, and finally, because he was in the UK already a long time studying, he just finished his studies, and I came there for masters. And we started hanging out, you know, we would walk all night by the Thames River, dreaming, making plans, and we felt, well, now it's finally a chance, we can do something together, but we wanted to do something different. And everything like fell in its place, actually. At that time, you know, YouTube was just starting, so we were one of the first musicians to really become famous in a way through YouTube. Like
you and Justin Bieber,
pioneers of of YouTube music sensations, and the whole period was really chaotic. I just came to do my masters, which was supposed to last 2 years, but I was able to finish it in 1 year. But at the same time, in the middle of this first year there, we released the Smooth Criminal, and then everything started happening, you know, like you said, Elton John called, all the TV shows, labels, basically our life became a big chaos, mess, while I still had some student obligation, like playing with you. But everything was fine. I got a leave of absence, and you know, it's a long story. Everyone knows the story, and
sure. But why did you decide to like Smooth Criminal? Obviously, because you obviously both had a very serious classical background. You had won big competitions, and you could have easily just gone with that. Just make a cello duet, even classical, and I'm sure it would have been maybe not as widespread, but it would have been just as successful, at least in the classical sphere. So how did you decide? Okay,
we would still be playing in the cantina of the Royal Academy if there was no Smooth Criminal. No, I'm half joking, but yeah, I mean, at that time, so many things were happening. You know, I think also Michael Jackson died that year, and he was also supposed to have series of concerts at the O2, the This Is It tour, which was supposed to be a big deal. And we were in London, and we were both listening to, you know, different genres of music, see what we could arrange for two cellos, do something new, something different. And we thought the Smooth Criminal was the perfect piece to start because of the riff. You know, it's very rhythmical, melodic, and energetic. It sounds great on cello, and we did it, and the rest is history.
The rest is it's an awesome avalanche of amazing stuff that happened to you afterwards, and it took you on a whole new journey, which is amazing. But then it's like it catapulted you into a whole new world, and you had to like adapt to so many new things. Like you signed up like overnight, almost the deal with Sony, and then you had to like make multiple arrangements from one. You had to make a whole album.
Exactly.
How did that feel? Like, did you have to like binge listen to like hundreds of tracks to like decide, okay, what is gonna be on this first album? Let's make it count. Like, it must have been like all of a sudden a lot of pressure and very little time to do it.
Exactly. You know, we had only this one song, and we had to come up with so many new arrangements to make the full album, to record it. So we started listening tons of different music, but we were very critical and picky when picking which songs we wanted to do, because you can play any song on the cello, but if you want to really make it something special, give it an extra dimension. And we only chose the songs that we really felt we can do justice to the original, but also do something different, something, put our own stamp on it, you know, in a way.
Right.
Give it another dimension through our playing, our expressivity, you know, our emotions, feelings, and cello, sound of cello. So that was the main criteria. So we listened a lot of music, but we chose only the best for first album, only the best songs that we knew at the time.
I mean, that was then obviously a huge success, and I think based on that call that we received before the coaching, you already started keeping in touch with Elton John. He was interested in doing something together, so you ended up for a while you actually touring with him, and I think you also had a Las Vegas residency with him, and playing all over the place. I think Madison Square Garden, also played for the Queen. Like these were like mind-blowing events, all like the milestone that one can hope to achieve in a lifetime, at least one of them, and you like went through all this in a matter of like couple of years. Like how was that for a change from playing in the canteen or playing in the Duke's Hall or in the Symphony Hall, and then all of a sudden playing for the most emblematic places and with the most huge names in the music world?
Well, yeah, it's been a crazy journey. I mean, since we started touring with Elton, first we joined his band, and then later we became a part of his management, Rocket Music, and slowly we started opening his shows. So we had a 20-minute set of only two of us before every of his concerts, and awesome. That was really something so valuable, and not only because we got exposed to such a big audience, you know, arenas, stadiums all over the world, but we also learned how to perform in such a big crowd, you know, to project, because in front of this kind of crowd, this huge venues, you really need to play differently. You need to project. You need to radiate something more. You need to,
Absolutely.
You need to suck everyone into what you are doing with your energy, with your passion, and that was really a big school. So later we started, a few years later we started coming back to the same arenas we were playing with Elton. We started filling them up by ourselves, which was a big sense of
it's incredible
accomplishment, and we were very, very proud of that. And things were just getting bigger and bigger. One of the highlights was for sure playing at the finals of the Champions League in Kiev.
That was awesome. I saw it on TV as well.
One of the biggest exposures we got. Before that was also Glee, a popular TV series in the US and all over the world, and we were the first instrumental artists to be guest artists on that show. And that show, when we were there, it was a Michael Jackson episode. It was one of the most watched in history of television. There's been so many, great experiences. One of my favorites is when we played with the Red Hot Chili Peppers in Zagreb in Croatia. We also opened the concert for them in front of 40,000 people.
Amazing.
And while we were doing our set, Chad Smith, the drummer of Red Hot Chili Peppers, was listening on the side. And when we came backstage, before we went to do an encore, he said, "Guys, can I play with you?" I said, "Sure." And then we went, and what shall we play? Let's play Back in Black by AC/DC. And we went back on stage, and when they saw Chad Smith sitting behind the drums, the crowd went crazy.
Wow!
And he broke the drums during the song. We went crazy. It was one of the most crazy adrenaline-filled experiences I ever got to experience in my life. There's been many beautiful venues that we played, obviously, solo and with Elton John, all over the world. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride, crazy experience.
But did you actually get to play again with Hot Chili Peppers later, or?
We played after on the same concert. We also played with the whole band during their set in the Californication. They do a big intro of the song that lasts 10 minutes. So but we met the rest of the guys from the band on stage, and we just started jamming together.
Wow!
So it was.
Already with the experience from jamming with the band of Elton John, I guess you already.
That helped a lot. The experience we got touring with Elton was also all the sound and the electric cellos and monitoring and all this technical stuff, which you are not, as a classical cellist, you never thought they existed.
No, it's a completely different world, and it's. But you obviously enormously, both you and Stepan are enormously talented, and you surely adapted, and it sounds like you adapted very smoothly, but it's a huge change, to come from the classical venues where it's all very, very, very narrow-minded, and it's all about the music. How do you perform? It's not about appearance. You don't need to necessarily project, or if you do too much, you're eccentric or whatever. And then going to the polar opposite, which is absolutely necessary to do when actually you're playing for thousands and thousands of people in these big venues, to actually fill them up. So how in your mind, and also physically, when did you start feeling comfortable with this? Because even though I'm sure from the very start you managed to project the energy necessary, like when did you start feeling comfortable with like really owning everything, and okay, I'm comfortable, this is really, I'm owning the crowd?
Well, me and Stepan both were also, while we were students, and even before that, like we were often criticized that in classical world that we are too intense, you know, that we are too crazy or too playing with too much, too many emotions, too much. Oh, you are breathing too much. Oh, you're moving your legs too much, you know. All this thing. Then when I went to study in Vienna, you know, I became a little bit gentleman, you know. They did a little vasectomy on me, but then, but then I met another crazy guy again, Hauser, and I got my balls back. It took me a while to adjust to the, you know, playing with electric cellos, live monitorings. Also, for a short period of time, we used in-ear monitoring, which was okay because we could hear what we are playing much better, but we couldn't feel the energy of the crowd. We couldn't feel the power.
It's not the same.
Screaming. It's not the same. So we used the monitors on the floor, the wedges, and sometimes they were really, really loud, and sometimes I can hear well, but sometimes after the concert I would have ringing in my ears for hours.
Like after clubbing all night, yeah.
Yeah, something like this.
I remember when with Symphoniacs we used Inears. Actually, I used to also to get feedback from the crowd. We would adapt so that we also get into the mix something from the crowd, but it was still like you couldn't really feel like when they start screaming because it was very minimal. So I would just remove one of them to get both. But it was a distraction. If you can go free, rather than having cables around and everything, it's better. So that makes sense.
But it took us a while also to really find out which monitors, wedges are the best, which work the best for us, for the cellos, which pedals. It took us a few years to experience everything. But luckily, we always had luck. You know, we never had some big troubles during our concerts or technical problems. And
but also,
if something happened, we would then joke and make it as a joke and even relax the audience, the atmosphere even more. So sometimes awesome. Not everything that happens is bad. So you can turn it around and make it into a positive.
Absolutely, and but also I guess with the start with the theme of Elton John, that's completely different, and it gives you already like a good backing and a good foundation as a start, and then you can building on that. Then it's just a matter of time to get more comfortable and
sure.
But
then we also. Our drummer Dusan Krajnc, he's an amazing young drummer from Croatia. He started joining us, you know, in the second part of the concert. So our concert would become a really like a rock show with so much power, adrenaline, energy, and our show always had a nice build-up. We started, you know, nice romantic, more classical, with just two cellos arrangement, and then midway we would pick it up, started playing more intense arrangement, and at the end also our drummer would join in, and at the end everyone would just go crazy. So our show always had this great build, which was so powerful live, and that's why we were growing, and so many people were coming back. It still is a good recipe.
But did the idea for the drummer come after the Red Hot Chili Peppers experience or beforehand?
No, the Red Hot Chili Peppers already happened later, while we were already playing with the drummer. Um, and it happened when we were listening to some AC/DC songs, and we could play this live, but we need a drummer. So
yeah, that's definitely helpful, and I mean, I've heard your live shows, and it's obviously awesome energy and I haven't heard it live, unfortunately, but I can only imagine, like, if through video it translates with such an energy, I can only imagine how it is live. But hopefully you guys are coming back for your anniversary to do another album and another tour. Although you're now doing your solo albums and everything, but you are coming back together, right?
that's the plan. At least that was a plan before
Corona.
COVID-19 broke out. So yeah, I mean, for sure we will finish the album this year, our sixth album, and next year is our 10th anniversary. So we have a tour scheduled. It was scheduled before, but now because of Corona, also some of our solo concerts were moved to a later date. So automatically we had to move also to Cello Store, which is now planned in Europe in October 2021.
Right.
And then later in Asia, Australia, and in United States. So.
Well, I'm sure the fans are gonna love that, and I hope it doesn't need to be postponed by much, so that you guys can return, because obviously there are lots of complications with the lockdown, and you never know when things are gonna clear. But I hope
that's why it felt so nice to play with you in July, and it came suddenly, the opportunity, and it was in the beautiful mountains, and it really felt, after so many months, it felt great to be on stage and to share stage with you.
Absolutely, I mean,
awesome.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure, and I was honored and thrilled, obviously, to share stage with you, and looking forward to playing more. Hopefully, there'll be the lockdown will be releasing, so that could happen.
I hope so.
But tell me, in this new album, do you also plan some original tracks, or is it gonna be arrangements or covers, or can you tell me anything?
Well, I will keep it a secret.
That's in your right. It's in your right.
You know why? Because I don't know. So let's keep it a secret.
Sure. How do you guys feel about original tracks? Because I don't think that you've done a lot. Like, I think in cello verse. Yeah,
we done 2 or 3. Well, the point of Two Cellos was never original music. It was creating original arrangements, crazy arrangements, And ultimately, it was about the life experience, the show, the energy, the passion, two of us, playing on stage and creating something on the spot with just 2 instruments that sounds so powerful, like you're listening to the whole band, or even more powerful. So raw, that's the point of Two Cellos. It was never, creating, composing our own music. It was more, about making creative arrangements and doing something new with the songs we love and audience likes, and also playing them live and building a really powerful show for the people.
I mean, like this also the show can always be filled up with the golden hits, right? So you never miss like that. Then it's always the crowd's favorite with every track. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I think people what they appreciate the most is us and our energy and passion and what we project, what we give them during our performance, and what they can take home. Because most of these rock bands, you know, you go to their shows and, well, not most, but many of them, their show is like they open up with 1-2 hits, then it drops down, but it's all the same energy. There is nothing unique about the concerts, and after a while you get bored, and there is not there any development or storytelling or you know, such a variety of feelings, emotions, and you know, on our show you can cry, and then after 5 minutes you can scream, you can be euphoric, then you can cry again, then you can be joyous, you know, such a variety of feeling, and that's, I think, what it makes people feel alive, you know. That's the most powerful feeling you can give to your audience.
You take them on a journey and it's an experience.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure what makes it special, and that's how you guys build such a huge audience, which I mean, it speaks for itself. It's super impressive, and I mean, it's super valuable to have that connection established, because you share something that speaks to you, and then it resonates with everybody else, which is amazing. But now that you're well, since a while, a family man, and you will have these upcoming tours, and you've been having these long tours. How do you handle them? Like, how do you manage to stay in touch with the family and at all, like, be also focused on your job, on performing?
Well, I would lie if I would say that it's an easy task, but I must say I planned everything really well, because I wouldn't be able to have, you know, 2 little kids, a family 5-6 years ago. So it was also a good time for us to have a break, and I also wanted to have children, to have a family. So timing wise, everything was perfect. Also, no, this Corona, you know, I miss playing, performing, but at the same time kids are really small, and this is the time you can never get back, and I'm really enjoying every moment, and I'm grateful and blessed for every moment I have with them. It means so much, not only to them, but to me, to my wife, to us as parents. You know, this is such a precious time, and already we were on break for 1 year before Corona. So, and during this period, I had some solo concerts, and the balance of in my life was really perfect. You know, I was home, and then I had a few concerts, and then I was home again. I wasn't away for 1 or 2 months, you know. I couldn't be away for such a long time at this very moment.
No.
So as far as how my life is balanced, no, it's perfect. But of course we are planning some tours next year. But these tours will be better planned. So we will be on the road 3 weeks max, and then I will be home, and then after a few months we'll be on the road again for three weeks. So I will be able to balance it out. And of course, I'm gonna miss my kids, you know, my family. But you know, that's life. We'll manage somehow. We'll get it through, and we'll be strong. But the good thing, when I'm home, I'm really, you know, 100% committed to them, you know.
Right.
So that's important, you know, because it's hard to be a touring musician and have a normal family life. It can be really mentally stressful and tough, because when you are on the road, you are alone. You have a different lifestyle, different energy, different everything. You can be selfish. You can be, you know, you only have yourself. And when you come home, it's a totally different dynamic. And it takes a lot of self-discipline. You have to be really strong in your head to switch so quickly between these two different lifestyles. Worlds, completely different, you know. It can... Luckily, I'm a humble and grateful person to try to be. So I know how valuable is having kids and healthy children, and this is the biggest treasure that I ever achieved or got in my life. So I don't think I'm grateful, you know. So, but it can be little confusing for the mind and for the ego, you know. At one point you are playing in front of a full arena, everyone is screaming, and then 24 hours later you are home changing diapers. But I try to really enjoy everything and be grateful for everything. I think being grateful every second for what you have, not taking anything for granted, that is the key to being normal and stable and disciplined. And every night when I go to sleep, I thank the universe for what I have. And I think that is the key to being really happy and in life, and to really appreciate everything you have.
And to be really actually present in the moment, because every situation requires a different side of you. So once, as you said, once you're on stage, once you're with the family, but as long as you just show full involvement with whatever you're doing, then I think things work out in the best way. Because I think as classical music upbringing teaches us that in a big way, that like the focus and the concentration in one thing at a time while we are performing or while we are practicing for extended amount of time, and it gives a foundation that then translates to all situations in life. But when you're back home, I'm sure that even if you need to practice, it's like there is no 3-year-old that knocks on the door and is like, "Daddy, is it a good time if I ask you?" No, they just come in and scream, I want to do this, and that's the priority then.
Yes, of course. Well, it's also about good organizations. Of course, my wife, when I need time, she handles everything, and you know, our grandparents, they help a lot. They live in the same town, so that's really a blessing to have.
That's very useful.
But yes, it's really, you need to be very disciplined and to, like, yes, our upbringing definitely helped a lot in making us strong and disciplined in life in general, because of our training and our upbringing, for sure. That helped a lot.
And do you guys actually keep in touch on a daily basis while you're on tour? Do you FaceTime, or how do you keep in touch with the family?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I wake up, there's obviously time difference, except when we were in Europe. So Sometimes if I'm in the States, I'm behind. Before I go to sleep after the concert anyway, I need few hours for adrenaline to go down, so I'm able to sleep. So I wait for them to wake up, and we talk before I go to sleep, and then they have their daily obligations. I sleep, then when I wake up I call them again, and they go to sleep probably just like 1 or 2 hours before we have a concert, so we talk then. Then I have a concert, and then I wait for them to wake up, so it's like yeah, well, it depends on the time difference, but of course every day, a few times a day for sure. Also Snapchat, sending snaps of, my wife sends me all the time little snaps of my kids, which means a lot.
Which is super sweet. I mean,
but it cannot replace the when you can hug them and
no, sure,
and throw them in the air and kiss them and smell their skin, their hair. There is no technology that can replace that human touch.
No, of course. But do you actually take them on? Do you take them on tour sometimes? Has that been possible?
They are too small for now. I think once they are 4, 5, 6, they would manage to, because tour life, it's not really, there is a tour bus, and everyone is when they go to pee is peeing everywhere.
Yeah.
The air condition is going strong, and some people like it hot, some people like it cold, and there are germs going through the ventilation of a tour bus. So it's not really family kids friendly.
No.
Unless we had like our own tour bus, but I think even for that they're still too small to take on the road. Yeah, and the kids so small, they need routine, they need stability. They cannot just be, they're not like a backpack which you can take them. Kids are sensitive. They need kids are the happiest when they have a certain time, when they go to sleep, when they eat, like, okay, they have lunch, they go to sleep for 2 hours, and then that's when they are in the the best mood. If you break this routine, and I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be possible, but I don't think it would be enjoyable for them and for me as well. So. And
do you also put them to bed? Do you give them a bedtime story when you're around, or do they not need it?
Of course. I mean, the older one, the son, we are reading to him every night. We spoiled him a little bit with going to bed, because we always have to, lay next to him, and which is also nice to read him something and tell him a story. But with the younger one, well, she's still young, a little bit over a year, but I managed to achieve that I put her into the crib and she falls asleep by herself, which is a very good achievement. I'm very proud of that. So
very impressive. That's
it's very convenient for us parents as well.
yeah, big time. That's I remember my brother, for the first year he barely slept because the baby would cry through the night, and this so this is definitely unusual, but it must be the soothing cello tones during the day as well that have calmed the nerves down.
Doesn't help.
But were you on I presume you were at home when your wife gave birth, or were you on tour, or?
Well, with the first baby, I was lucky that I was present during the childbirth. That was one of the most powerful moments the most powerful moments of my life. And then with the second child, she came 13 days before the scheduled due date, labor date, and I was just recording my solo album in Rome. so
I remember from the trailer that you received the call that
yes.
it's been, yeah.
I was recording my Vivaldi Four Seasons album. I thought, okay, I'm gonna finish the recording, go back, and I'm gonna be there. But sometimes in life you cannot plan everything, and I'm still sorry I missed the birth of my second child, but at least the second labor was so much easier than when I was there. So my wife said, better an easy labor without you than a hard and long labor with you there. So everything was fine. So.
I've heard that the first time is always more difficult, so that makes sense. It's surely not your presence that made it harder.
No, definitely. I tried, but
were you in the room?
Yeah, sure.
Surely, yeah. And how that must have been magical for sure.
It was even more emotional because it was very long. It was like 10 hours, and really, Tamara was really going through some hard stages of the labor, and at the end everything was fine. And once you see the baby, you just forget everything instantly, and you're just filled with so many powerful emotions. You cannot explain with words. It's the most powerful thing I think you can experience, and I'm so happy I did.
I mean it's amazing also circumstances how after years of touring, then it so happens that you guys need to be on a forced break. That's how you guys met with Tamara, and then how things evolve, and then you're already you have already the comfort and also the experience to already schedule things so that they're comfortable for you, and so that you can spend more family time. But it again took number of years for you to reach that point. But again, when you feel this as a necessity, when you feel that this is right and that you wanted, then it's amazing that you could manage already to achieve this and to put yourself in that position which allows you to divide your time in such a way, which is amazing. Because family time is, as you said, it's irreplaceable, and it's valuable also for yourself and also for your kids. And I'm sure they're gonna really appreciate it, and they're gonna have later on when they actually can look back and remember that even though their dad was like a cello superstar touring around the world, he still made time, and they had a full childhood with both parents most of the time around.
Yeah, I mean, many things in child's development doesn't happen even consciously. They remembering that I was there for them, but they are developing subconsciously. Me being present there for them, being there. It's an
example.
Yes, and they are not aware of it consciously, but it's so beneficial for them, for their development as persons, as humans, as human beings, and
100%.
Yes, yeah. So
and
this is.
Tell me though, during the recording, first of all, how, because this is your first solo album, and you did Vivaldi, and obviously I wouldn't have imagined anything else. because you already were playing with these all the pieces of the violin repertoire. So now you played Vivaldi. How long did the arrangement take? How was it difficult to adapt it to cello? And it must be really difficult to play it on cello. I mean, it's difficult even for most violinists to play it. So I can imagine how it is on cello.
Yes, it was quite a challenge. Already like for 2 years when I was on tour with two cellos on the road, every day I would take a little part and try to arrange it, try to find the perfect fingering, how to play this part, how to play this technically. Mm-hmm. The most challenging thing was to play it as brilliantly as possible on the cello, because obviously violin is a much more brilliant instrument naturally than the cello. They also have a E string, the highest E string, which we cellists don't have. So I have to play everything much higher on the fingerboard, and at the same time dealing with the physical laws of cello as an instrument, which is you really have to being very inventive to find with fingerings, with bowings to make it sound as brilliant as possible. Especially a piece like Four Seasons, and since no one has done it yet in its full, all 4 seasons on the cello, it was a big challenge for me, and I wanted to be the first one to do it. And I'm really happy with the result, and got the chance to record with a really, really amazing orchestra, Accademia di Santa Cecilia from Rome, one of the best orchestras in the world. And I wanted to do it in Italy because obviously Vivaldi. And I'm really proud of my first solo CD, so even if it's not gonna be so maybe commercially or among the, how do you say, broader audience accepted or successful, I'm still very proud of it, and it means a lot to me as a cellist, artist, musician. So.
Oh, this is for sure a milestone for cello recordings. Like I'm sure historically this is gonna be remembered as an emblematic recording. This is the first recording like an arrangement. I'm sure, like with your skill and knowledge of cello, it was. You're the person who actually can really adapt it and make it sound as natural and as organic as it can be on cello. So in short term, whether there is financial or promotion success, I think that's irrelevant. But as the first solo album and as a milestone in the history of cello recordings, I think this is huge. So I think it's really impressive, and it's something to be proud of for sure. Big time.
Thank you, Evgeny, for your nice words.
No, it's really I feel this way. So I'm like I would say it in front of you.
I should just let you speak, and I will be just quiet. Thank you.
No, this is 100%. But now I also wanted to ask you, with these long tours, how do you, long like weeks or months, how have you managed to also keep your energy up? How have you managed to keep your body and your mind kind of in shape and in tune, and to keep that level? Like do you do any sports during tour? Do you manage, even like I know it's a really busy schedule usually, so it's tough to squeeze anything in. So how do you manage?
I always did a lot of sports in my life. So yes, while I was on tour, I would always exercise. I did some bodyweight training or swimming when I could, going to the gym, trying to be active. always had because we would on our US tours we would always carry our equipment on trucks and everything, the PA, the lights, and there was always my freestanding pull-up bar that was going last on the truck, and some kettlebells. So
wow,
that waited for me on everywhere where we came in my dressing room already. When I woke up next day, was already in my dressing room, so I could do my morning routine.
It's like The Rock bringing his gym, but you.
Okay, not so heavy weights, but
right.
Just 2 kettlebells and a pull-up bar. That's enough for me.
I mean, you can have a proper workout with that if you're skillful enough and
sure,
you know what you're doing. So that's a full body workout for sure.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Have you done any meditation, any yoga, or?
I done a little bit of yoga, just a few times, but I did some stretching. I did just stretching, a lot of stretching, because on tour I had a lot of time for myself, you know. Now obviously I don't have any time, so I'm just actually I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a few months ago, and then the corona happened, and so it was off for I really liked a lot that, and I was home now, so I joined the local club here.
Yeah.
Have to be careful with my hands, but everyone knows that I'm a cellist, I'm a musician, so they take care of me.
They
don't do any wrist locks on me, so I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that's important. But yeah. I think I've mentioned to you that I also used to do Kyokushin, but which is full contact but that was when I was a teenager, and the piano was the reason obviously that I stopped, because the next step would have been going to tournaments and going full on, and then you cannot rely on the opponent to spare you, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing that you can keep some exercise, because I think lots of musicians, especially in the classic sphere, but in general, they really undermine this, and they think that it would be deteriorating to their playing, but they don't see the bigger picture that a pianist or a cellist or a violinist, they need to work with their hands, they need their body to be fully functional, and if you spend the entire day on your instrument, with your instrument, practicing in a practice room, then sooner or later you're just gonna get injuries, you're gonna get in trouble, because keeping that posture for every instrument, specific posture for hours at a time, it's only gonna spell disaster long term. So somehow there is this fear of exercise, and they feel, there is tension, or there is whatever in the hands, and that's
but it's the opposite actually. Once you get into it, it's so beneficial, not only for your body but for your mind as well. I mean, sport helped me a lot coping with this. It was always a constant for me. If being on the road or being at home, it was always, for my mental strength, it was always there, because it was stable. I exercised on the road and I exercised at home. So I always had this routine which kind of balanced my life out in a perfect way. It helped me cope with these two extremes of lifestyle. And also, sorry?
Go ahead.
Yeah, also I come from a very sporty family. Music and sports was always two main things and my father is also a cellist, but also very fit, sporty guy. My brother did sports. Me and my brother would train for 6-7 years when we were kids, water polo, and
amazing.
I was even in a Slovenian national team up to 14 years of age.
Really?
Yeah. And then I had to, same with you and Kyokushin. My cello teacher told me, okay, now you have to choose. Are you gonna do sport or music? Because of time, and
yeah,
it's hard to be serious in both and be, the best as you can. And luckily, I chose the right thing. But I'm still trying to be active and live a healthy lifestyle.
I mean, physical activity for sure. It can be like a type of anchor. That obviously our music is one type of anchor that we can go, and it can be emotional, it can be psychological, but I find that this physical activity that really helps the mind, really helps you get grounded and settled, and it's something that is really important. And people saying that, I did the workout and now my arms are like this, like that. If you pick a random person to come and play on the cello or on the piano for an hour, then their fingers and their hands are gonna hurt much worse than they would after a gym workout. It's just a matter of actually doing it correctly and doing it consistently. Getting accustomed to it. So there is this initial threshold that I find that people are afraid of, but once, if you, with the right guidance, as it should be with right guidance in anything, afterwards there are more benefits that any detriment to the body and also to the mind. So it's I hope that people take also your story as an example, as a motivation to go through this and and really live a healthier lifestyle with this, because it's important for the longevity with whatever you do.
It's important for life, not just. Music and career is just one part of the puzzle. Life is so much more.
I remember that when we played, we were, I think, at the corridor in front of the canteen, and there was this. We met the principal in the academy, and he mentioned that there were this, what is it, a charity dinner with Elton John. And you had come up with the video a couple of days before or something. And he was like, oh, look, there is this cool thing that I want to show you. And he showed the video. And I guess that was then the connection with Elton John, which is like this awesome timing. That
everything in that period was so like a puzzle, and in that year in particular, I was just finishing my studies in Vienna. I was a little bit depressed, didn't know what to do. Every young musician has a period in their life when they're a little bit lost and uncertain about the future, and I kind of forced myself to go to London to do masters. I didn't want to go. I thought, maybe I should look for a job, settle down. But somehow I decided to go to London. And if I didn't go, none of this would maybe happen,
Yeah.
We wouldn't be talking today here for sure. Or playing a concert in Italy a few weeks ago. So everything in life, then you look back and you realize sometimes all these steps they were really like so important. for everything.
In hindsight, how one thing then leads to the other, and how one actually benefits the other and gives you the necessary experience for you to move the next step and the next step and the next step.
Exactly, and it's everything is, I believe in law of attraction. I mean, you somehow, you're like a magnet. If you have these positive thoughts, and things manifest, maybe not in the way you expect them to, but they manifest, they come to fruition, something happens, like
sometimes the way we think is best, and the way we want is not the ultimate best. So I think as long as we don't fix our mind on this has to be like that, but rather let things go with the flow, and to just try to keep striving towards what we desire, what we want to achieve, then I think things just line up in a more organic way and in the best way.
Sometimes the best we can do is just to try to be the best version possible of ourselves, and not be preoccupied with future so much, because sometimes you cannot know everything what life will bring you. So sometimes the best thing you can do is just to, in every day, to be the best possible version of yourself, and that's it.
If anything has been proven in this year, is that you cannot plan in advance.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
You should
and you just go with the feeling, with the intuition, and try it out. Sometimes you may fail, sometimes not, but sometimes you really nail it. But the most important thing is that every time you do your best, and leave it all out there.
Exactly. You make the most of it with the full involvement, with full
commitment.
Commitment. Yeah, this is with the responsibility to the moment, that you're in this moment, and you're only experiencing ever this moment, right? So our mind may be going back and forth, but we are only present in this moment, and then we make the most out of it, and we do it with 100% involvement in it. It's, I think, the only way it should be. It's difficult because psychologically we sometimes go back and forth. Sometimes we drag ourselves down, but I think this is what everyone should strive for, and that's the recipe to be happier, and also to be more successful in your daily life, and to achieve more in it. Getting a bit metaphysical, but I mean, you are proof of that. You are proof of that. So people can really be inspired by this, and by your example. So I hope it serves in this way. Yeah. And I'm happy that that one of the pieces in the puzzle, I'm happy that it was our Brahms sonata.
Not only Brahms, but the puzzle continues,
The puzzle continues.
I always look at my life as as a marathon, not as a race, 100 meters race. So the good thing about music is that we can create till we are old, really, really old. So it's not like sports where you have a certain window you have to. But we can create all our life. We can play concerts. We can write our own music one day. There's so many possibilities, and that's the beauty of music and what we are doing, and endless possibilities. So I'm not worried about it at all. I'm embracing life with open arms and living every day to the fullest.
Awesome, man. thank you for joining. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for sharing your story, sharing your thoughts, your emotions, and your experiences, and for being an example, an inspiration to a whole generation of musicians and people in general who are music lovers and follow your path, which there are millions of. So thanks so much again for joining, and I hope we meet again soon in this hopefully easier post-corona time.
Thank you for the invitation on your great podcast. I must say you were really, really brilliant. And I didn't know you had it in you, so good for you.
You're very kind.
Joe Rogan, watch out. Evgeny Genchev is coming.
Thanks, Luka. Thanks. I appreciate it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and it was for me really fascinating to hear some of the stories from behind the scenes and the unique perspective on so many aspects of life that Luka has. I hope you enjoyed this episode and you could get some additional insight, inspiration, and a glimpse of what is the process behind someone who is certainly one of the top cellists and musicians of our time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.